Driving down that road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. United Road, take me home to the place I belong, to Old Trafford, to see United. Take me home, United Road.
Hello and welcome along to our Matchday Live watch-along for the Women's Champions League game, and it's going to be across YouTube and MUTV and the web and app and all sorts, but the really important thing for you here is that if you are watching us on YouTube, you've got 15 minutes on the men's YouTube channel before we move over to the Manchester United women's YouTube channel. So make sure that you are subscribed over there if you want to watch the whole thing with a brilliant cast of guests. Absolutely delighted that former Manchester United defender Aoife Mannion is with me. So too Lindsay Johnson. I nearly just called you Jono then. I nearly just... and Jono's with me as well. We're going to watch the game together, and I think this is quite exciting, isn't it, really? Sort of a companion to anybody that's watching the game. They get to listen to a little bit of insight from you two, and we get to watch the game together, and that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's going to be obviously a great game. Manchester United's first game in Champions League proper for the women, and I think great to watch it with you, Liam, but even better than to watch it with Aoife, who's got all the knowledge and inside stories, and it'll be great to get that from Aoife tonight. Yeah,
Aoife, you obviously left Manchester United at the end of last season, so you're really close to all of this as well. You kind of understand everything that's going on and how Mark Skinner works and what the squad looks like, and that kind of insight's going to be brilliant tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's still hard. I'm not too long out the door, so I still feel like there's part of me that's really watching it as a fan. I know a lot of the girls, I'm buzzing for them, just from a fan perspective, to actually be competing in the Champions League, all competitions. I know the team got to the qualifying rounds a few years ago, 2 years ago, to actually see them and witness them playing their first game against Valerenga tonight. It will probably be lost on the girls, actually, the kind of like how iconic of an occasion it is, but not for us. We get to like sit and talk about it and hopefully digest and analyse a really good performance. Yeah,
really looking forward to the game getting underway. Game starts at 8 o'clock. Don't forget that if you are definitely wanting to watch the whole thing with us, make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. Both the men's and women's would be ideal. If you are subscribed on the women's YouTube channel, though, just make sure that you hit the thumbs up on that and click the bell as well, so any new videos that come up further down the track, you are the first to know about them. I suppose it's going to be really important for us to find out who's playing who. We know it's Manchester United against Valerenga, but who are the staff? Let's find out. Zara's got the team news.
Thanks everyone, team news is in, so let's get straight to it. Let's start off with the home side, Manchester United women's team. In net, we have Valentine Joyce. Then we have a back four of Jade Riviere, Dominique Janssen, and captain Maëlle Tissier and Anna Sandberg. In the middle of the park, you have Ella Toon, Hinata Miyazawa, and Julia Ziggiotti, with Jess Parker ahead of the three. Finally, we have an up-front duo of Elizabeth Turland and Melvine Mallard. Now let's go to the opposition. Valerenga, they line up in a 3-4-3. In between the sticks for them, we have Toby and Blom. Your back three consists of Sarah Horte, Michaela Kovacs and Anna Eriksdottir. There will be a midfield four of Yolyn Tenebo, Lynn Vickius, Nina Inowen, Sadis Haidar-Stottir. And your front three will be Alina Hegg, Karina Savak, Aulaug Tibetan. So that's your team news. Let us know what you guys are thinking.
Thanks very much, Zara. So just the one change for Manchester United from the game against Chelsea at the weekend, and it's Melvine Mallard that comes into the side off the left. We think it'll be this sort of 4-2-3-1 that Mark Skinner's been playing across the course of this season, with that double pivot of Miyazawa and Ziggiotti, who have been absolutely incredible. How much of a difference does it make bringing somebody like Melvine into the side, Aoife?
Melvin's just been on such good form this season so far. I think we said a couple of weeks back when we were talking about Bran that she's scored more goals in the WSL already than she scored in the whole of last season. Specifically what she brings to the left wing, she's a right-footed player, so when she plays on the left wing, she loves to come inside, and I think her relationship and link-up play with Anna Sandberg is something that we can really expect to see tonight, and obviously we know how well Anna's been doing with that goal against Chelsea.
Fridolina Rolfo, who makes way, obviously a player that's got masses and masses of experience, so having her as a finisher rather than a starter, Lindsay, is probably what Mark Skinner's looking at, somebody that can come on and help out in the closing stages of the game.
Yeah, I think you're right, and her experience, obviously, in domestic football out in Barcelona, but in the Champions League as well, is massive, and I think to have her on the bench just boosts that on the bench. But I think Melvine Mallard said it, as Aoife said, she had a fantastic start to the season, and to not start her tonight, really, she brings the energy, she's scoring goals, and I would say we're looking for Rolfo to find that form yet, so to have her to fresh legs, bring her on in the latter stages of the game, I think that's a fantastic option for Mark.
We'll look at Valerenga in just a second, but one more thing about this United side is because they've had to go through these Champions League qualifiers, they've actually played a lot more games than almost everybody else. Will that stand them in good stead tonight, do you think, Aoife?
Massively. I mean, they're a team that's in full flow and really good momentum. They're scoring goals for fun. They've scored 16 goals in 6 games. And what's really pleasing for me to watch is just the variety of ways that their goals come from. And I'm hoping that we can expect to see that tonight. I think Valerenga could be really tricky. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But the fact that United have played so many games together already, even though we're only 4 games into the domestic season, I think that will stand them in really, really good stead.
Well, in terms of tonight's opposition, Valerenga, they've won the league the last 2 years. They're no slouches, and in fact, it's the start of a really tricky run for Manchester United because there's no easy fixtures in this Champions League. They've lined up slightly differently to how maybe we were anticipating. They've got, goal scorers that aren't in the team, and I suppose that goes to show, Aoife, the strength in depth for them. Yeah,
I mean, when I was looking at Valerenga, they're different from Brann, which is obviously the other Norwegian team that United played in the qualifying rounds. They're different in the sense that they play a different formation. So Valerenga play with a wing-back system. And the other thing that's, I think, different about them to Brann is they're more direct. And also, their best players, in terms of their stats, don't always start. So we were saying before that Thorsnes, number 9, 37-year-old, 5'9", like great height, has scored 6 goals in 3 games. She's actually not starting tonight. So in terms of thinking and anticipating who they might bring off the bench as the game goes on, that could bring a real, string to their bow to their arrow? It's one of them. I think both work. It could give them an extra edge that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise had if all of their best players had started.
At least Thorsnes has done really well, but so too has Elizabeth Turland, who's 7 goals in 4 games. So in the Champions League, we'll just have to wait and see exactly what's going on there. If you are watching on YouTube, hello, welcome along. If you want to join in the conversation, the only way that you're going to be able to do that is by being a subscriber. So make sure that you've hit the subscribe button on the Manchester United Women's YouTube, because once we get to match time, 8 o'clock, we're going to shift over there, and the only way that you're going to be able to join in the conversation is by being subscribed to the Women's YouTube channel. Right, okay, I think it's probably a good idea to hear from the boss next. We're going to do exactly that. Here's Mark Skinner.
Valerenga, Champions League football this week. This is the types of week that we have all dreamed about this club, right?
It's something we've spoken about. I think I was leaving the home this morning, and Laura reminded me that this is the first Champions League training minus match day -1 training session, and to enjoy it and to remember it, because games come thick and fast. You move into like hamster wheel mode, where you're constantly churning out the next kind of performance. But it's nice to stand still and reflect just the growth that we've had as a team and as a club. And I think it's really special that we get to attack this together in this moment. But I reminded the players, we're not naive. This is different levels of opponent, different qualities of player. the best in Europe. And we must make sure that we are one of those teams, because I believe in us that we're at that level. So we must go into this game eyes wide open in terms of what we must do, but lean on the experience we've already had in finals and all of these details, because these are 6 playoff final games, right? And it depends where you sit in the league after that. So we must go and attack the game to the best of our ability tomorrow and try and win it, of course.
And we're not just here to just be in this competition. We're here to compete and be the very best and beat the very best.
Oh, I'm sure that's the slogan for the Women's Champions League when they promoted it. If you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And I think that's the challenge. We will play some of the very best during the league phase. And hopefully if we can make it out of that that grouping into the quarterfinals, then we can challenge ourselves again. But sole focus goes to Valerenga. You know, like us, they've qualified through the pathways and, you know, have shown every bit of quality to get to it. So respect to them as well as, you know, our team for doing that. But tomorrow is business, and we must go into that game with a business mindset of still same performance, still same aggression, with and without the ball. And if we can do that, I think no team will want to play against us. I really do. That's how much I believe in us. So bring on the challenge and something. We're going to be very mature. I want maturity from my group tomorrow, because that will be the key to winning the game, I think.
And the key thing that helped us, as we've already said, is those fans at Leigh Sports Village and how vital they are in moments like this, because it's that romanticism right again.
But even that, come and feel it. The first experience of Champions League football for our women's team. Come and we're making history together, and I want to make sure that the fans are part of that, because what's the point in making history if no one's there to witness it? And so I want to make sure, let's come and fill as many seats as we possibly can. Come and feel the roar, come and feel the energy of the players, and come and make the difference. And I think if we can do that, it will be a real cauldron and a real place where no team will want to visit. And that's, I can't stress enough, come and experience Champions League football. You know, unfortunately, men aren't in it this year, so, you know, and that will happen again in the future. But right now we are. So come and support us and get behind your team. And regardless of it being male or female, come and get behind Manchester United in Europe.
Well, good luck, and hopefully we're all sharing the celebrations together.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Always good to hear from Mark Skinner. I would imagine that he's absolutely ready and raring to go now. This is going to be a case of Manchester United being patient and enjoying themselves over the course of the evening. Here's how it's going to work. If you want to watch this game, we can't show it because of various different UEFA rules and rights situations. So, QR code available on your screen. That'll give you an idea of where you can watch the game live, but you can always keep us alongside as something to listen to, watch along whilst the game's going on. We'll try and bring you some insight into what's happened. And don't forget, we watch Manchester United women all of the time. It's my job. I get to do it. It's absolutely brilliant. So keep with us. Make sure you're subscribed to the Women's YouTube channel. That'd be absolutely brilliant. If you are subscribed, we want you to get involved in the conversation. And just as a little sweetener to the deal, the best comment, the best conversation starter, someone is going to win a signed Maya Letitia shirt. So make sure you're the one that gives us the best talking point over the course of tonight. That would be absolutely brilliant. We'll highlight some of the best comments that we get as we go through the evening. Teams are just on their way out. Now's the point where I get to turn to you two and ask you how you would be feeling on a night like this. Champions League proper for the first time, Lindsay Johnson. Are the nerves high, or are you just hyped and ready to go?
I think now you're just ready. You want to get going. You know, it's history. Mark just alluded to then. It's history for Manchester United women, and I think, you know, when you play in any game and you're playing for the club that you love, then you give everything. But I think to be playing in Champions League proper in this new format as well, against this side tonight, a home game, just be up for it and ready for it, and want to get your first touch, header, tackle, whatever it might be on the ball.
Now, you know a lot of these players. You've played with a lot of these players. There'll be some of them, I would imagine, that will have butterflies and nerves, and there'll be some that are just ready to go. Who are the big characters that they'll look to here, the squad?
Oh, who are the big characters? To be fair, in that dressing room, there's so many good characters, and for different reasons. I'm thinking about Melvin Mallard playing music before the games. I'm thinking about Maya Letitia with like a quiet word here and there. There's so much character. In terms of nerves and anticipation, I think it's a very personal thing. Some of us, you know, we're nervous regardless, and then other people, it's just totally in their stride. I think for the girls it will feel like another game to some extent, because they don't have the luxury of maybe appreciating the atmosphere and the occasion as much as we will, sitting and watching it.
Yeah, and I think also, Liam, if you look at obviously Manchester United's squad, it's just lots and lots of experienced international players who play for their country time and time again, but you have got people like Rolfo who can bring that Champions League experience to it, and that'll be massive in the change room before kick-off, ready for the game.
How important is a player like Tooney in this? Somebody that's been on the biggest stage of them all, you know, in terms of playing in Euros and winning huge trophies, and May Letitia too, to some extent. Really important to have that big game experience on the pitch when you're playing in a game like this, Aoife.
I mean, what better experience to have than winning the Euros twice? You know, amazing to have those players on the team. Tooney, obviously well in the thick of it. May has been involved, Jess Park's been involved. And I imagine that level of experience just gives you a sense of confidence and composure that no matter what happens in any particular minute of the game, there's still more of the game to be played and there's still more of the game to perform in. And I think it's the composure and the confidence piece that will give them. I anticipate that Valerenga may sit in a block, potentially. I think there's a big differential in terms of the quality. And if that's the case, United are going to need to show a level of composure and quality that experience does give you.
I think that's right, isn't it? How important is it to enjoy? I mean, we're moments away from kick-off here. We're going to get to start enjoying the game, which will be, you know, that'll be great because I'm quite looking forward to seeing how they're getting on. How important is it to enjoy? I know everybody's got a job to do and they're going to want to win, but you kind of got to enjoy the moment too, haven't you?
Yeah, do you know, when I played, I think you're in the game, you don't think about it, you just think about getting the job done and playing. But looking at the pictures there, and you look at May Letitia and she's smiling, she's laughing, I think they do have that, and I think Mark really is big on that. Enjoy it first, and obviously, you know, success will follow on from it. But you've got to enjoy it, haven't you? And I think the girls look like they're about to do that. Yeah,
we're underway at the Lee Sports Village. We've been playing 10 seconds or so, and Manchester United trying to get on the front foot early. And this will be something that Mark Skinner will have said to his side. It's about making sure that you get on the front. As I say that, I've just stopped talking because Elizabeth Turlin's just been played in, lovely cross into the box, and it was an opportunity to get a header on goal. It's just slid off her forehead, hasn't managed to hit the target, but that's exactly what Mark Skinner will have wanted, isn't it? A really bright start to the game. Yeah, massively so. I mean, it felt like we were just tucking ourselves in for the game, and already Terry Turland has a really good chance. I don't think she anticipated how nicely the ball would drop to her head, and clearly Valerenga are going to have to think about those spaces. Like, they can't leave that much space and allow those sorts of crosses to be coming into the box. Hopefully a lot more of this to come for United. And we expected a fast start, but I think it's important that they do get a fast start, because you're right, Aoife, Valerenga will probably go into a mid or a low block, and then it's going to be hard to get early crosses into the box. Be direct, quick on the transition, and you can see that they're trying to move the ball around the back quite quickly. You know, they're very much up for this game and know that's how they're going to try and break through Valerenga. Hopefully, Manchester United can get moved. We had a couple of comments on YouTube already. Don't forget, the only way to get involved on the YouTube comments section is to make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. It is subscribers only. So Mr. C says, come on girls, have fun, enjoy the moment, do yourselves proud. Dominica says, love this starting lineup. I think this is United's strongest team at the moment. I don't know whether you know, Fridolin or Rolfo might have something to say about that, but it's certainly a team that has had a really, really strong start to the season, and it doesn't feel like you really take away from the strength if you make one or two changes to that starting 11, and I think that's probably the sign of quite a good team if you include the substitutes bench in that. Massively. I mean, I spoke before the game, like, looking at the starting lineup, where the chances and the goals will come from, and there's just so many players that are performing at the moment. With Rolfo, of course, to come in as well, and loads of players off the bench. Obviously, we're just watching a corner here. So coming in from the right-hand side, and it's flicked on near post. It's going to go behind. I think it's going to be another corner. Dominic Janssen it is that gets there, who is dangerous from those set pieces. Actually gone behind for a goal kick, so we don't have to panic too. She's so good at finding that space. As we just see a run off a marker at the front. She's just outside of that front post, and it makes the flicked header quite difficult, Jonna.
Yeah, as a defender, you know, that's really difficult to mark, isn't it? When they've got the march on you, the runner across you as well. You've got to judge that space in between you and that striker as well. So it's really good movement. But that's a play we've not even talked about yet, Janssen, and the experience she's got at WSL, but Champions League experience that Janssen's got as well. It must be, you know, great to play with a player like that with her experience. Such a composed player on the ball as well, doesn't panic. And that's what, you know, you want in your side as a leader. And like Aoife said, there's so many leaders in this United side.
The other thing about this United team, or certainly the thing that I've really enjoyed the most this season, has been just how technical that Manchester United midfield is when you've got Miyazawa and Zighiotti, and their ability to A, keep it ticking over, but B, they cover the space so well in front of that back four that actually it takes a little bit of pressure away from players like Maya Letitia. And I mean, as a defender, both of you, you'll know what it's like to have somebody in front of you that sort of takes a bit of that pressure away. It's delightful, isn't it?
It is, of course, it makes your job easier, but I think you work on it in training, the relationships that you build up with your full-backs, but also those pivots just in front of you, just to protect the back four. And I think it's testament to this side of over the last 2-3 seasons that defensively they've been one of the best teams in the league, and I think they've got to be that in the Champions League to not concede goals. Obviously you're always in a chance to win the game, and I think, like you say, those relationships with those midfield players, Miyazawa and Zighiotti tonight, but there's other players who can come in like Narsand who do that job perfectly well as well.
Yeah, Lisa Narsand and the powerful running that she provides could be a really important sort of substitution as we go into the second half. And you hear more and more now, don't you, coaches talking about starters and finishers. It's not about, you know, you haven't made the team. It's more about, I need your specific skill set at a specific point of the game. And actually that's a much more grown-up way of looking at what should essentially be a squad game, Aoife.
Yeah, I mean, I'm smiling because it's very hard to digest that when you're a substitute. But there is a truth in it. And I was listening back to Mark's pre-match comments for the Chelsea game last Friday, and he spoke about a start plan and an end plan for each game. And I think gone are the days where, you know, you throw 11 players out on the pitch and say, off you go. You know, you go and do all the work. As soon as the starting whistle goes, the manager is talking to their coaches about, look, what do we need? Where are we doing well? Where are we conceding chances? And players get substituted onto the pitch specifically to answer those questions. So yeah, going back to it as a player, very difficult to swallow, but it is true, and it is the way that football's going really, with the depth of squads that teams that want to compete in Champions League have to have.
Yeah, and I played in an era where there wasn't starters and finishers. You were just a starter or a sub, and I think it's funny to get your take on it, because I'm thinking, you know, when I played for England, I was very much a squad player, and that was difficult at times. But if somebody explained to me, well, I want you to come on at this point of the game, or this is what you bring to it, it might just make it a little bit easier to be on the bench rather than a finisher. But, you know, I take your point on board as well. You just want to play, don't you? You just want to start as a player. But I think if you look at the squad and the bigger picture, then you're here to do a job, and that be your job to come and win the game for your team.
I think, specifically talking about this subject, we've been playing 6.5 minutes, by the way, still 0-0. Manchester United have had an awful lot of the ball. They've created a couple of opportunities from wide areas, but haven't necessarily found that cutting edge just yet. But I tell you, Valerenga are finding it a little bit trickier than maybe they anticipated to be playing against this Manchester United side, who have got another corner, this time away on the left-hand side, and it's that direct running of Melvin Mala. People like Lisa Narsand, which is how this conversation started, if you think about her as a second half player, the ability that she has to stretch a game, so she's quick, she's powerful, she's good at carrying the ball. What happens is, against legs that have already been playing an hour, it exacerbates that ability, because it's much more difficult to keep up with her. And I think that's probably how Mark Skinner would look at the situation, even though Lisa's probably sat on the bench going, I would much rather have started this game, you know, like you two have pointed out. Little foul in the penalty area, so Again, Manchester United making life a little tricky inside the box for Valerenga, but on that occasion have just pushed things a little too far. LJ Moran says the beginning of a new chapter for Manchester United. Amazing to see the women taking their first steps into European competition. Totally agree. Elliot says, hoping for another special Champions League performance tonight. Terry has been in fine form, so should be one to watch. If you're not sure who Terry is, that is the squad nickname for Elizabeth Turland. Everybody calls her Terry Turland. Why do they call her Terry Turland? Is it because her surname's Turland?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I've got it saved in my phone as like Terri. I don't know why. I guess it's because of a surname. But yeah, it's not obvious. Like when we say Terry, that it's Elizabeth Turland. So it's good that you've said that, because I just say Terry.
And I know her as Terry as well. Nicknames are weird in football, though. I'm guessing you were John O through your whole career, were you?
Yeah, only when I went to Liverpool in the northeast, I wasn't John O. But as soon as I come to Liverpool, that was it. It was John O.
Is that one of those questions that I shouldn't ask? What you were in the northeast?
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep it out of this conversation.
Aoife, did you have a nickname in football?
No, not really, actually. Not really.
Nobody ever used the full Aoife, did they?
Yeah, Aoife, I think.
Aoife.
I think it's hard enough to say as it is, that people just sort of, I'll respond to anything. But I've always loved the idea of having like a AJ or a, that sort of like, it's like the first letter of a...
Yeah, I would have been LJ.
LJ.
There's another LJ now, I think. Might play for England.
The original, yeah.
Would that be Lauren James? I think, you
Very
were
different players.
Yeah, definitely different players.
Yeah.
Not saying one was better than the other, not getting involved in that competition. Alan Kenny says, great to see Aoife there. Really enjoyed her insight last time she was on. I'm not biased, even though she's a fellow Brummie Irish.
Oh, that's lovely.
That makes two of us sat here as Brummie Irish, really, because I am, Liam from the Midlands and also Irish. So yeah, let's all of us at it. Just short of 10 minutes played, Manchester United still back in possession, and actually this has been the story of the game so far. United sort of bossing the possession of the ball and have actually created good opportunities down both sides for set pieces to be delivered into the penalty area. And I just wonder how long Valerenga are going to hold out, and whether or not this is going to, the longer the game goes, they're going to get deeper into more of a low block, and it's then going to be Manchester United trying to fix that problem.
Yeah, and I think what you can always expect from Norwegian sides is, their fitness levels are good, and if they need to, they'll go direct. That's what they're renowned for. But at the moment, you can see them in that low block, and they're getting plenty of numbers behind the ball. So it's how Manchester United find those pockets of space, move the ball quickly, which they are doing so well at the moment. I think Melvin Mallard has looked really lively, lots of energy. She's not just staying on that left-hand side, she's coming inside as well, isn't she, which gives room for Sandberg to then get further forward and higher up the pitch, which obviously we know Mark likes. So I think they're doing really well so far.
Again, what we're seeing, for anybody that watches Manchester United women at any stage during the season, it is that they push so high up the pitch, and the deeper that you sit against them, the higher they get, and that's essentially what they're doing. Currently, we've got the two centre halves in Maya Letitia and Dominique Janssen on the edge of the centre circle inside the Valerenga half, and what that does, Aoife, I guess, is it just squeezes you and increases the pressure.
Yeah, massively, and players of the ability and calibre of Maya Letitia and Dominic Janssen don't need to be told to press, don't need to be told to take space. And the vibe really when you're playing against a team in a low block, you need to wrap round them. So you need to have players all around their structure so that whatever side the ball's on, you can kind of get it and switch to the other side. I think I said this before, it's all about that patience, but then also having the ability to change the tempo and be direct and penetrative with the passes when you need to. It's much harder than it looks. Looking as a fan, it seems so easy when a team is sitting in a low block, but actually when you're playing in it, it feels really frustrating, and there's almost like a psychological element to it that's hard to appreciate as a fan when you're watching it. It's easy to kind of get complacent, you've got loads of the ball, but actually it's not in dangerous areas. I mean, United have more than enough quality and players to eventually slice through Valerenga, but that will be the problem.
78% possession, Lindsay.
Yeah. And I think, you know, what Aoife is saying is they're being really patient, but they're passing with purpose and with intent and with speed, which makes it difficult for Valerenga to get any possession or sustained possession on the ball.
Absolutely the case, and I just wonder as the game goes on, I had a conversation with Mark Skinner about his tactics and about how things work, and he tried to explain to me that if you split the pitch widthways into 5 channels, so you've got the 2 wing areas that are pushed out towards the touchlines, then just inside the 2 wing areas you've got the 2 half spaces, and then you've got the centre channel. And what he was saying is that when you're playing against a low block, what you've got to try and do is cross 3 or 4 of those 5 time and time again, and you've got to be patient in doing that to try and move players out of position, wait for the mistake, wait for somebody to get impatient, to step forward or whatever it might be, and that's when you can take the opportunity to strike, which is what Manchester United have done here. And it's a shot from distance from Miyazawa. Goodness me, she has rifled that goalwards, and we've seen her score an absolute worldie in the last couple of weeks as well. That wasn't a million miles away from causing problems again, this time for Valerenga.
It was really good movement from United. Like you say, it was that patient build-up, but it's not slow. You know, sometimes I think that's when fans get frustrated, when the other team's in a low block and you've got possession of the ball, but there's no real intent or movement. But United, it's so far in this game, are doing everything with intent, and then that drive through the middle from Miyazawa then was really good. She'll be disappointed that she didn't make the goalkeeper work a little bit more, but it was a really good break.
And then Elizabeth Turland closing down the goalkeeper, putting another block in. That is something that we've seen her do relentlessly and brilliantly over the course of her entire career at Manchester United. It's like her battery's never run out. She's constantly closing down and charging players down and trying to make contact on the ball high up the field.
Yeah, I mean, she scored some really good goals, but she gives so much more to a team than... She's one of those number 9. She does score goals, but she also gives so much more. So it almost does her a disservice just to talk about her finishing ability. Her ability as a pressing player to win the ball back and put pressure on the opposite team's defenders is second to none, actually. Like, I know as a defender in training playing against her, it's really difficult. She's not there, and then all of a sudden she's all over you like a rash, winning the ball back. And that's just it. Again, it just adds another way that when you look at this Man United team, when you're thinking about where chance is going to come from, that's another way that they're going to come from. Players like Terry winning the ball back, and Melvin as well, really, really good effort and energy. Players like them winning the ball back, getting balls into the box.
And it's their intelligence as well, because of when to press and when not to press. I think that's an art in itself as well, isn't it? Because you've got to understand where your teammates are. Obviously, there's that communication from behind, but I think Turland does it exceptionally well. And like I say, she's on your back in a second, and you've got to move that ball quickly.
Yeah, massively. They say, like, that person, so let's say that number 9, Terry, they say that you don't just run at the defender, you're meant to shape the press, right? Show them out. But as a defender, when you're on the ball doing your little dribble, she's not there and she's kind of over somewhere else, and then all of a sudden it's like she comes up in the rear view mirror, and then suddenly you feel really pressured and really rushed in your decision, and that's what makes her pressing really intelligent. If you watch her, she doesn't just fire out at the defender, because if she did that, you could see her really obviously in your eye line and you just pass it on. It's that she just appears out of the blue. And it's those little details that Mark Skinner as a coach is really, really good at coaching. They make the difference, and they make the difference of turning opportunities into really good chances.
Next time you're watching a game of football, you watch the likes of Benjamin Šeško or Elizabeth Turland. They do exactly the same thing. The run, sort of, as they're pressing, curls in. It's not a straight line, it's an arc. So keep an eye on that, and you'll think to yourself, oh, I heard Aoife Mannion talking about that when I was watching this live watch-along. I know that some of you are very definitely watching this and you are not subscribed to the women's YouTube channel. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you have to be subscribed. If you want all of your match highlights and your interviews and all of those special bits and pieces that you only get on YouTube, you need to be subscribed. Even better if you can give the thumbs up to this video and click the bell as well, so you're notified for any future videos that come. Speaking of talking points being provided by people that are subscribed, Evan says, saw the fixtures, United will be playing Lyon, 8-time winners. That's going to be interesting. Based on the performances of the women over the last few seasons, Do United stand a chance against Lyon? That's a very good question, and one that I am not going to answer. I'm going to pass it straight away in hospital fashion to Lindsay Johnson.
Oh, brilliant, thanks for that one. I'll take it on the chest and play it out. I think, do you know what? Lyon are obviously an established side, won the Champions League numerous of times. They've got, you know, big financial backing, massive players. And I think United over the years have progressed massively. And I think United on their day will give any team in Europe a game. Obviously, there'll be underdogs in that game, but I do think defensively they're one of the hardest teams to break down. Lyon have got goal scorers all over the pitch. They really do. But I think, you know, United will give them a good game, and I do think that, you know, it's going to be difficult, but I wouldn't say that's definitely a Lyon win. I think that United will go toe-to-toe with them and really give them a good game. So to answer the question, yeah, I think they'd be really competitive against that Lyon side.
Yeah, I agree. I think that United would be seen as the underdog. However, when I watched Lyon against Arsenal last night and I look at where Lyon's goals came from, they actually came from Arsenal mistakes.
Two defensive mistakes.
So if you take them out, which are really easy fixes, granted Lyon did have good chances, they did have good chances, but didn't convert. United can go toe-to-toe against Arsenal, so why not Lyon? So I think definitely United are more than a good enough match when they're in flow and in form, more than a good enough match for Lyon, based on what I saw of Lyon last night against Arsenal. That's not to say that they're an amazing team, but they're no longer the dead cert Champions League winning team that they were in the past.
It's very interesting. Elsewhere in the Women's Champions League this evening, Polton trailing by a goal to nil against Atletico Madrid. Wolfsburg 1-0 up against Paris Saint-Germain a little bit earlier. FC 20 holding Chelsea a goal each, which is really, really interesting. So keep an eye on those as we go through the rest of the evening. Meanwhile, Manchester United on the attack here. And Jade Riviere is going to put one in to the penalty area. Just drifts ever so slightly as it goes over the crossbar. But again, it's Manchester United providing balls into the penalty area. This time from the half space, actually. Jade Riviere just inside the edge of the 18-yard box, puts it in from about 23, 24 yards out. If she can curl that, get a foot round it a little bit more, it allows players to run onto the end of it, and that could be a good route through for United.
Yeah, she kind of mishit it there and it ended up going over the bar, but that's an element of Jade's game that she's really added into a locker, her crossing ability. And I think sometimes as fans when we're watching games, we can get a bit frustrated when we feel like a ball's just getting put into the box, but actually a lot of goals come from the second pieces of what happens after the ball gets put into us. I mean, I know us as defenders, the first header out is the easiest bit. It's what happens after that's really really uncertain, and I think that United are really, really good at making great chances of that. So it's the ball into the box, but it's also the energy and the numbers around the penalty area to go and make good on that.
The ball's fallen on the edge of the box to Ziggiotti, pulls it into Mallard. Mallard has been brought down in the penalty area. I tell you what, there's some real challenges gone in there. Referee with a decision to make. Eventually points for the goal kick, but there are two tackles that have gone in there that both required a little bit of attention from the referee. What did you make of them?
We're just seeing it again there, and she does get it. I just wanted to see it. The defender does get across Mallard just before she gets to the ball, but I think on first sight you just think, yeah, she's gone down, she's gone across her, but she does win the ball. So it's a well-timed tackle in the end by Valerenga.
Defending, but again, Manchester United in behind Aoife, and that's not been the first time that we've said that in the opening 22 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting great chances in. I was just thinking then, like, if a forward was sat on the couch with us, whether they would have said something different. I'm in your boat. Yeah, you've won the ball, you've took the player a little bit. I'm definitely biased as a defender of, if you've got a good contact on the ball, I don't think that's a penalty. But with my roots and with some of my allegiances to United, yes, I would have wanted the penalty there. But to be fair, on the playback, Horte, I think it is, the number 2, I do think she gets the ball.
Yeah, done really well. I've just seen that stat. Did you spot that pop up in the top left-hand corner of the screen there? 186 passes completed by Manchester United and just 35 completed by Valerenga, but it's Valerenga they're here with the best opportunity of the game, and guess who gets down to it nice and low to make the save that Manchester United needed to make? It is Fallon Tullis-Joyce, who has been almost unbeatable over the course of this season so far, but that was Valerenga's first real opportunity dealt with by Fallon Tullis-Joyce.
And that's exactly what happens when the opposition you're playing is in that low block or mid block. They get numbers behind the ball. You overplay the ball, or in that case, you underplay it, as Igiotti did, and then they're ready to transition quickly and hit you on the counter with quick forwards. So Tullis-Joyce's eyes said it all. She was rolling her eyes, wasn't she? Like, you've got to stay composed. You've got to stay focused. You know, because you've got lots and lots of possession, lots of time with the ball. So you've really got to stay switched on for the whole time as well.
That ended up as well being a massive chance really for Valerenga, and for anyone who is managing to watch the game, like, look out for that number 10 who took that shot to Venken. She's actually the top goal scorer in the Norwegian domestic league, I think. So probably if there was one player for them that they would want the ball to fall to, it would be her. I don't think she puts it enough in the corners. Granted, foul still has to be set and still has to make that save.
Real chance here, and Melvin Mallard's going to have a go. Turlin's going to turn it goalwards. It's cleared off the line. Well, Melvin Mallard steals it away from the defender. It falls to Elizabeth Turlin in the area, who has a go. It's cleared away off the line, and from one end of the field, massive chance for Valerenga, an even bigger chance at the other end for Manchester United. One of the two of them will have been absolutely desperate to put that away, but the defender's in the right place, Jono.
Yeah, and you've got to give them credit there. It was, poor play by Valerenga, but it was a really high press from Mallard, who put the defender under loads of pressure, able to just nick the ball. The keeper made a fantastic save, didn't she? Because it was a really powerful shot by Mallard. But then Turlin gets on the end of it, and really good position from the centre half for Valerenga, who gets the ball on the line, is able to clear her lines as well.
Player down and winded in the penalty area, so we've had a little bit of a break in play, but that's Manchester United's best chance of the game so far, Aoife.
Yeah, definitely, and I feel like my head's on a swivel here. I'm too busy talking and enjoying the chat, and then obviously missing the big chances. Terry with a really good shot, and then also Mallard. They'll be disappointed between the two of them that they didn't maybe push Emblom, the Valerenga keeper, into a better save potentially. But for a game where United are playing against a low block, it's still quite open. There is still quite a few chances that have happened in the last few minutes, which is uncharacteristic of a team that's actually playing in a low block.
We can show you that chance. We can't show you lots and lots of them, but we can definitely show you that one. And if you follow the QR code at the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to find out exactly where you can watch the game live. Obviously, we can't show it on MUTV because of rights restrictions, but you can take us with you, so you can have us as your companion as you go through watching the game. Absolutely unbelievable chance for United. Unfortunately, couldn't convert it. And hopefully there's more to come as Melvin Mallard brings it down inside the penalty area. Goodness me, sat up perfectly on her chest and volleys it goalwards, and it's only just missed the top left-hand corner.
How did she even gather that in the air? The touch there with the outside of her right foot, was it? And then to hit it on a swivel there, you can just see that volley. I thought it was going into the top corner.
Yeah, me too. I'm absolutely devastated that it hasn't, because the touch deserved it, I think, Aoife.
If she had been slightly further out and netted that would have been up for the Puskas Award. Yeah. That was incredible, really good, and that is so in line with her character as well. Little bit playful, big character. I would have loved nothing more than for her to net that.
Well, Jess Park's gone direct here, and that's another. Probably don't give United enough credit for that kind of direct football. They play so much passing football along the ground, Manchester United, under Mark Skinner, that you forget that actually with Elizabeth Turlin you have got somebody that can latch onto the end of a ball over the top, one that sort of cuts out a couple of lines. That's exactly what's happened there. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite fall to Elizabeth Turlin. Mr. C says, hi guys, loving the new Watchalong, very good to watch, thank you very much indeed. A question for the three of you: where do you think United can end up at the end of the season? Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League. You want sort of an idea of the finish for all three of those. Wouldn't it be incredible if Manchester United could make 4 back-to-back FA Cup finals? That would be unprecedented.
it would be unprecedented, and I think, you know, it wouldn't be unheard of as well. I wouldn't be surprised if United did do it.
Yeah, I agree.
They have such a good run in the FA Cup, and obviously they're able to win it against Spurs 4-0, an emphatic win as well. So I think the FA Cup is definitely, you know, we all know it's knockout football, so it's anyone's game. But I think with regards to the WSL, they've started the season off really well, and like Eve said, they've gone, you know, toe-to-toe with Arsenal. But the Chelsea game, for me, I think that was a fantastic performance by United. And I think they were unlucky not to come away from the win. So they're definitely in with a shout with the WSL. They'll be up there at the end of the season. I think it'll be between them and Chelsea, I do genuinely think.
Right, have a little think about where you think the final positions will be on all of those. Whilst you're thinking about that, let's go and get a pitch-side view from Zara.
Thanks very much, guys. So I'm enjoying myself here. I'm in the East Stand. I'm with the supporters club because they're certainly making a racket. Fair play to Valerenga for... Hold on 1 second. I've got to pause it here. We have just seen here a little... Yeah, there's the penalty given. We've got some reactions here from the fans. A penalty's been given. How excited are you?
No, hang on.
We don't know what's happening here.
Oh, we'll get a VAR.
I mean, this is going to be interesting because this is kind of the first instance where we've got so close. We've had an absolute flutter of chances there on goal previously. I mean, it was incredible to see the clearance that Valerenga made, but who knows what can happen now. We'll have to hold on and see. But I'm hoping it's going to be a penalty. We'll be able to celebrate.
We genuinely have no idea what's going on here.
We have no idea what's going on, but this is the perks of being a fan and actually being in the stands here, because I'm getting a bit of the atmosphere. You can actually see the nerves on everyone's faces. This is see you guys back at base in the Devil's Bar. You get to have the replays. It's a penalty officially, guys. It is penalty to Manchester United's women's team. Everyone here. We've got a huge crowd that's with us here. There's quite a few of the supporters clubs that are here with us.
No swearing.
But yeah, as you can hear, we're in quite a tame area. But you're going to get the live reaction now of this penalty. Make sure you're in the comments, liking and subscribing as well, because this is obviously the exciting part of this. So here we go then. Penalty for Manchester United. Are we going to score? Let's see. Here we go then. Let's see. We've got fingers crossed. Fingers crossed behind here.
Come on. Hang on, what's the line they're doing? Stop now.
Here we go.
No.
You can feel the tension in the stadium.
Yeah!
There we go. Come on. 1-0 to Manchester United women's team. Fantastic penalty there. Let me know if you guys are celebrating back in Devil's Bar. Over to you.
Absolutely brilliant. So obviously Zara doesn't have the benefit of all of the replays that we had here. We can tell you exactly what's happened. So on the edge of the penalty area, ball is struck goalwards. It actually hits the arm of the Valerenga defender, and then there's no opportunity. Although Elizabeth Turlett is standing in an offside position at that point, she's not impacting the play. VAR's checked it, given the penalty, and Maya Letitia has converted in the way only Maya does, which is brutal accuracy from the penalty spot for her second goal of the season for Manchester United, and that is absolutely nothing less than they deserve, is it? Aoife?
I mean, it was a great penalty. She sent the keeper the wrong way. I was wondering whether she would do the same as she did against Lindsay, which I think she buried it dead
straight
centre.
down the middle, yeah.
So I thought, will she have like the cahoots to go again in the exact same direction? Really accurate. Whenever we used to practice penalties at the end of training, she was always up there, and she can change. She can go right, she can go left. And I was thinking, in the minds of a penalty taker, knowing that she scored her last one down the middle, does she change? Does she stick? Does she twist? And there's probably no one better actually in that situation to get us off, us again, I'm saying us, to get Man United off. I'm no longer at the club. To get Man United off to a winning start in Champions League proper.
Yeah, it would be absolutely brilliant, wouldn't it? Two questions for you, Lindsay. Was it a penalty? And, I mean, how good's the finish from Maya Letitia?
The first one, yeah, it is a penalty for me. It hits a hand. I know Turlett was in offside position, but you would have still played on, wouldn't you? And I just think for a centre half and for a leader, your captain to stand up and take the penalty, score the first goal in the Champions League proper, that just shows, she's such a young player, she's so calm, composed, and as Aoife said, she's got it in her locker to not just, you're not just going to drill it down the middle. That's what I did. I was like, hit it as hard as you can with your laces, see where it goes. She actually picks where she's going to go.
Right, chuck that this way. Right, OK. So, the best comment that we get on YouTube, we'll get this. This is a Manchester United shirt, and you can see just here, it's been signed by... Yeah. Yeah, as long as you're subscribed, you can definitely put it there. I can almost guarantee you won't win.
Oh, no.
But
we get to pick. Do we get to pick?
No, I think that's probably going to have to be the production team, just because now you've given me the thought that you might pick yourself, and I'm not sure I can trust you. Also, Maya Letitia, you could just phone her and get one yourself, couldn't you? So this one is for the best comment that we get on... I'm going to put it here. There we go. The best comment that we get on YouTube. Make sure you were subscribed to be able to get involved in the conversation, which is what we were talking about before we went to Zara. Maya Letitia gave Manchester United the lead from 12 yards, which was, where do we think that Manchester United are going to finish in the WSL? Where do we think that Manchester United are going to finish in the FA Cup? And where do we think Manchester United are going to finish in the Champions League? So we'll start with the WSL. What are we saying for United in the WSL this season?
Do you want an actual... accurate position, or can I say top 3?
Top 3 is fine. That's what I was going to say.
I genuinely think top 3.
I agree.
I think they'll be challenging it for the top.
Aoife?
I've actually wrote my answers down.
Oh, have you?
Oh, you?
You're such a swat, you.
Right, I'm gonna. Oh, you can't see it. Well, actually, maybe you can.
The dog ate it.
If I turn this round, can we do a reveal?
Maybe. I can reveal it. Oh, you've gone second. OK.
I've gone second.
This is like Richard Osman's House of Games all of a sudden. We've got tablets and everything going on.
It's like deal or no deal.
Love that. Right, so second in the WSL.
I've gone second.
FA Cup, are we saying going to make the final again? Are we going to say semi-finals? What are you going with, Jono?
Yeah, I think definitely semi-finals, but that's a hard one to predict.
Yeah,
knockout. Definitely semi-finals for me.
So is this FA Cup?
Yeah.
I'm having way too much fun.
Okay.
Ready?
OK, what are we going? You're going to go for a win.
Yeah,
You're going to go for an FA Cup win.
No, I'm in. I'm in the FA Cup. I'm going to have to go second.
Runner-up to Newcastle. OK, no, that's fine. I think that's fair. You were saying that you were going to win the FA Cup and Manchester United were going to be runners-up. That's what that was. And what about Champions League? What's realistic? I mean, I know that we get giddy, don't we? And they've had a really good start here against Valerenga, who have won the Norwegian Elite Series 2 years in a row, and they've had a really good qualifying stage. What's realistic, do we think, for United in terms of the Champions League this season? Bearing in mind it's their first run proper at this competition. We'll start with Aoife this time. You've been first twice.
I wrote quarter-final, so I think. Looking at it with a cool head, take one step more than what you've already done. So I've said, right, get out of the group stage, and I think the fans would be very, very happy with that as a starting point. It's probably the one of the 3 where I've been more conservative. So I hope the United fans will forgive me for that.
I think that's fair. We've got Valerenga on the attack down the right-hand side here, but United have just slid back into position the way that they do so well. When they are slightly under pressure, and one of the things that they've been brilliant at is defending the runs forward. We'll keep an eye on that whilst we get Lindsay Johnson's thoughts about the Champions League. Yeah,
I think getting out of the group, they've got some big teams to play, and I do think not getting out of the group, getting into the knockout stages of the Champions League in this new format. They've got some big teams that they're playing. Obviously, we've mentioned Lyon. They've also got Wolfsburg, who are very fantastic, a very good side. PSG, that's going to be some game as well. They played them in the 2 seasons ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
PSG have some real good players. So I think there's some tough teams in there, but I do think Manchester United will get to the knockout stages, and then I agree with Aoife. You go from there. Rome wasn't built in a day, and you've got to do things step by step. But I think they're a very, very good squad, and Mark Skinner's got a really tight group of players there who can, on their day, compete with anybody.
I agree. That night against PSG, United really struggled against Chawinga, I think it was. Goodness me, absolutely rapid. And the London City Lionesses midfielder was also playing for PSG that night as well. The new signing they've just brought in this season, whose name is
Grace Guerrero.
was also part of that squad. So maybe slightly different. Another chance here for Ziggy Otti. It was played through brilliantly, but keeper gets down sharply. Jess Park has been a really, really good addition for Manchester United. Her ability to get forward and that direct running, aggressive nature in and around the penalty area, really, really important. So we've got 7 or 8 minutes to go until half-time. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button and click the bell to make sure that you get all of these videos. And don't forget, best comment on YouTube this evening can only come from a subscriber. Signed Maya Letitia shirt, who has given Manchester United a 1-0 lead. There is a question here that's coming from Harvey for Aoife. It's a good one. What's Maya like as a captain, and what's it like for a squad to be captained by somebody so young?
As a captain, Maya leads as she does. So she is the example of highly competitive, highly ambitious, and just does everything in a way that if someone was looking at her throughout a day, they'd think that's someone who wants their team to win and go places. She's the first in the training ground, she's the last out of the training ground, and probably before a lot of WSL players have even got out of bed in the morning, she's probably done a gym session and a speed session. So playing with Maya, it drives your standards up by sort of seeing how she is. She's the example to a lot of players, and I think with age, I think she's one of the players that has got in the mix for like the most WSL caps already, and she's early 20s. I think she might even be younger than that. I should probably know.
She's certainly, a spring chicken. I think I'm going to find out exactly. I've got all of the match notes, but I've not got the match notes.
But I think that's massive, that, because people associate captaincy with an older player.
23.
Yeah, she's
that's sickening.
She's getting on, isn't she? But I think what you've said is really important, that she leads by example. And I think when she was given the captaincy, there was some questions about, well, she's young and what has she done? But I think it was spot on, wasn't it? And obviously Mark and the likes of you know why she was given it. But it's obviously she's then stepped up. She's gone even that next level, I think. And there's more to come as a 23-year-old.
I remember when she was given captaincy, she did like a speech just to the players, so she came in, and I just remember being so humble. She was like, look girls, I know I'm really young, I'm not really experienced in this position, but I promise I'm going to try my absolute hardest and I'm going to listen to you all and try my best, And I think about where she is now, probably from that moment, how she probably felt nervous and really humble, whereas now people would be looking forward to getting the opportunity to work with her, and she's only 23. She's a great girl. She is a really, really good girl.
United on the front foot here with Melvin Mallard looking to play Ella Toon into the penalty area. It's well blocked again by Valerenga, and actually, story of the game, United have turned the ball over again in a really good position. Jess Park now into the feet on the edge of the box, and again they get to the edge of the penalty area, and again it's sort of a last-ditch tackle from Valerenga, and that has been the 40 minutes that we've seen so far. Only one shot from Valerenga, and that was that one shot that we've seen on target over the course of the game. If you want the stats are eye-opening. So 72% possession for Manchester United over 40 minutes. 6 shots for United, 4 shots on target, 3 big chances, 2 big chances missed, the penalty scored. It is a one-sided stats panel. Absolutely incredible to see this level. I thought we all probably thought United were going to do well. I'm not quite sure we thought it would be quite as much of a one-sided affair as we've seen over the first 45, Lindsay.
Yeah, and I think as well what you want with those stats to back it up is you want the goals, don't you? And I think that's what Mark will want now. And I think with Valerenga conceding the goal, hopefully they'll open up a little bit more, which will leave pockets of space for the likes of Jess Park to get on as well. Because Valerenga, if they want anything out of the game, they're going to have to try and open up. United are going to have to try and be a bit more direct, which will leave spaces for United to play through. But yeah, really emphatic stats that, and just really, if they get another goal before half-time, I think Mark will be really, really pleased.
The referee's just blown the whistle for a free kick, and every Manchester United player and me gesticulated like, what? It's never a free... And it turned out it was a free kick for Manchester United, so it's all right. Got it absolutely right, actually. The tackle comes in, there's nothing in the tackle, but then player goes down, in when it is, that goes down and actually handles the ball as she goes to ground. So it gives United a free kick on the edge of the penalty area, and Anna Sandberg and Ella Toone will both be having a little look at this, either the right foot of Ella Toone or the left of Sandberg. It is Toone that delivers, it's headed away on the edge of the penalty area. United have been really, really good in this first half, and Mark Skinner will be really pleased, I think, with the performance. If there was any feedback, Aoife, that he was going to give this Manchester United side at the break, what do you think it would be?
I'm trying to get back into the head of what he would be saying. I think he would say something of, you know, we want more of the same, more movement, more energy. It's good having passes and possession, but when you do it, can we look for those opportunities to really hurt them? Keep switching the ball, and also don't be complacent. For all of the good possession and the good work, and let's be honest, Valerenga haven't really laid a glove on United. It's still only 1-0, and actually Valerenga did have one really good chance with Tvedkin, which could have very easily been a goal. So like Lindsay says, you have to have the goals to back up the stats. So that's the next step. Just converting some of the amazing chances that they've had. And I think the further this game goes on as well, the fitness levels of the girls on the pitch in terms of United, and also players to come on off the bench, I think we'll see a step up again to what's already been a really good first half performance.
I think that's probably the only thing, isn't it? Like United, with the chances that they've had, with the shots on target that they've had, could they be further in front than they currently are, Lindsay?
Yeah, I think they you know, with the stats that they've got going for them, with the amount of possession, and they, like I said before, they've been passing with purpose. They're not just doing it low intensity. They're moving off the ball well. Just that second goal, I think, would please Mark a little bit more. I mean, credit to Valerenga. They're getting numbers behind the ball, aren't they? We've seen that. There's, you know, all of them are in defending third at the moment for Valerenga. So it's about moving that ball quickly. I would like to see a lot more crosses. You know, we've not really seen many crosses in play from United, getting the ball out wide, getting bodies into the box, trying to get early crosses into the box. So maybe if they can do that, move the ball quickly out wide.
Yeah, one of the things that Mark Skinner likes to do when there's a low block like this is start to deliver from the half space. So if you're really struggling to get down the sides, which I'm not saying that United are, but certainly had a lot more opportunity down the sides in the beginning part of this half, you might start to see, as we go through the second period, players like Maya Letitia delivering from that right-sided half space, and that more crosses into the penalty area. All it does is it just continues to pile the pressure on Valerenga. We've got 2 minutes of time added on at the end of the first half. If you are watching on YouTube, then make sure that you are subscribed. The only way that you can get involved in the conversation, the only way that you stand a chance of winning this signed Maya Letitia shirt, is to hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Even better if you hit the thumbs up, even better if you hit the bell, because the bell will then give you notifications of any YouTube video that goes up on the Manchester United Women YouTube channel as we go forward. We are into the closing stages. Melvin Mallard on the front foot, comes out to Anna Sandberg, who scored an absolute worldie at the weekend, and she's into the penalty area, forced back out of the box, and there is just a recycling of possession. United are in no rush here to try and force this. Nick's been in touch, says got to be more clinical, but the intent is there, and that's the most important thing. And I think that's exactly what we've all been saying as we've gone through the first 45 minutes. At half-time, we're going to take a little break, but we will be back to bring you the whole second half again as sort of this companion to the game. Don't forget, you can find this game live elsewhere. We can't show it, but we are going to be with you all the way through. Here's an opportunity, edge of the penalty area, decent stop from the goalkeeper. But again, United finding a way to sort of really provide themselves opportunities. This time it comes from Ella Toone, but it's well saved. And
it's again, Valerenga, they had a little bit of possession there. They've tried to counter and transition really quickly, but lost the ball in midfield, and straight away Jess Park's in that pocket of space, which has opened up. Just laid it off to Tooney, who had the shot on goal. Just straight at the keeper, wasn't it? Could have been either side of her, though. Make her work a little bit more.
She has the ability to create pieces of magic from that kind of distance, Ella Toone.
Yeah, I mean, she's scored so many worldies over the years. Definitely something that you would back to convert a long-range shot.
Half-time then, and Manchester United go in leading by a 1-0, and it's a penalty that they've managed to convert brilliantly. Maya Letitia doing the job, and that means Manchester United go in at the break leading by a 0-0 in their first Champions League proper game against Valerenga. We will be back after the break.
United are back in possession, midway inside the London City half. This is Maya Letitia forward to Jess Park, back to Letitia. Right-footed, clips one into the path of Jade Riviere. Lovely ball, lovely touch. This needs to be a good cross. Oh, it's fired in! That is absolutely sensational from Jade Riviere. The ball to her is brilliant, the touch is fantastic, but the finish is absolutely incredible. And the young Canadian has doubled Manchester United's advantage. It's 2-0 to the Reds.
It's a fantastic finish, and I don't think she could quite believe it when it went in and hit the back of the net. It's a brilliant strike, and she holds the badge up to the fans that are there supporting the team, but she's been so high up. Whether it's a shot, whether it's a cross, it's a brilliant finish.
Been supporting since 2019 when I went to the derby at the Etihad. When I first started, I'd never chant and I was just sat there watching the match, but now I think I couldn't imagine sitting there and just watching the match in silence. I've got to stand and I've got to chant because that's who I've become at the matches.
She's unique. She's definitely one of her own. I think if you come to Lee and don't know Isabel, then there's something wrong, because I think everyone knows her.
When I'm in work in my cafe, people recognise me and say, "Oh, I've seen you at Lee." And I'm kind of like, wow, didn't expect it. But they just recognise me for me standing and chanting, and they're like, I recognise that girl.
This is Caldente, edge of the penalty area. Pull back, shot comes in. Oh, it's a brilliant stop. Valerenga-Joyce diving away, extends an arm. Well, it's definitely hit the crossbar, but I wonder whether, take another look here, this is the angle. It is. So it's a fantastic save from Valerenga-Joyce. She tips it onto the crossbar and away. It's an absolutely brilliant stop from Valerenga-Joyce.
This is your chance to be part of the fabric. Your photo, your stories, your place in Old Trafford's legacy. For over a century, dreams have begun here, in our academy. Echoed through every stand and every chant. Now, it's your turn. Stand shoulder to shoulder with legends. Youth, courage, success, all rising together in one iconic mosaic. Every photo carries a memory. Every face fuels the spirit of this club. Add your photo to the mosaic at Old Trafford and frame your place in history. Our home, your memories.
With pressure. That's given away though, and now it's potentially a 2-on-3 situation. Jess Park arriving at the back post as well. Slid through. Elizabeth Taylor for the hat-trick. Manchester United have 3 on the night. They lead 3-1 on aggregate, and a hat-trick for Elizabeth Taylor.
Well done, Terry. What a finish. Really, really good play from United again. Melvine jumping forward, pressing, winning the ball back, playing it through. Great finish from Terry. Hat-trick hero. Go on, the girl. Scored in 3 different ways tonight. Head, left and right. I wonder how many people who score a hat-trick can say that.
Perfect hat-trick.
Mm.
Left foot, right foot, head.
Good, now smile. Perfect. Just me like this. Straps a little bit, look at the camera. There we go. Nice. Excellent. Good. Lovely. That's nice. And then you do like a arm fold. That's so good. And a little pick up on the side, holding the pick I always feel a heart.
Yeah.
I feel that's natural to you.
More natural.
There you go.
Like your classic Disney like TV shows, so it's like High School Musical, Camp Rock, and like Hannah Montana, Lizzie McGuire, things like that.
Feel alright?
I think so, yeah.
So, Tinkerbell or Tigger? Tigger. Tigger or Homer Simpson? Tigger. Tigger or Winnie the Pooh? Oh, I did love Winnie. Tigger. Tigger or Buzz Lightyear? Sticking with Tigger. Tigger or Elastigirl from New Predator? Oh, she was the boss. Tigger. Tigger or Remy from Ratatouille? Oh, that little mouse. Little rat. Tigger. Tigger all the way. Tigger. Woohoo!
In this movie, he's a chef and he has a rat friend. It's fishes under the sea.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
What is your earliest memory of watching a Disney movie or show?
I watched a lot of Toy Story when I was younger with the family on the sofa.
Primary school. Terry, because it's free going into business. I said free. I never understand. No, I never understand. Sorry. No, seriously. Look. You understand me? You understand me? Say again. You understand me?
Chuck this lead.
No!
Nice. Good.
Topping, either kebab. Yeah, that's a bit special, but I really like it with like salad and everything on top.
Look to your left for me. A little bit more. That's it. Nice one. 10:45 this way. Nice one. Little smile. Good. There we go. And not too far. Yeah, there we go.
And we're doing the Keep Yuppie challenge with Disney Plus. Okay, right. Something cold. Yeah, but something. What is ice?
Oh, it's frozen.
Nice.
They do it in London at the theatre. You're gonna have to read it more.
It's got animals in it.
The Lion King?
Yeah. Okay, the shoe.
Cinderella.
Yes, nice. And Marge.
The Simpsons.
Yeah, nice. I'm allowed to say that, Marge. Okay, nice.
Welcome back to this Matchday Live watch along on the Manchester United Women's YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed and elsewhere on the Manchester United website and app. Really good first half for Manchester. 75% possession, 7 shots, 5 on target, scored a goal in a competition that they've not played in proper before, and they've looked like the team, I think, that have been playing this competition for years and years. They've looked the comfortable ones in this game, and that's exactly what Manchester United will have wanted, exactly what Mark Skinner will have wanted. And I think, given what we've seen in the first 45 minutes, Mark Skinner's probably going to be saying to his side, let's be a little bit more clinical, let's continue doing all of the things that we did right in the first half, but let's add another goal and make it comfortable so we haven't got to go into the closing stages sitting on a 1-0 lead, Lindsay.
I think so. I think that's exactly what he'll have said, and I think it's important that they keep that energy up. So I do think, for no fault of anybody, I think there'll be subs, and if there's no goal in the next 10-15 minutes, I think everyone has played really well. The energy's been there. The passing has been really accurate and nice quick movement. But I just think you might need some different players on and some fresh ideas as well, because you need to solidify that. The most important thing is to get the 3 points from the first game, and they've really done well tonight so far. So yeah, they need that second goal.
We've just seen pictures of warm-ups going on, obviously, at half-time, and Fridolina Rolfö has been warming up at the break. We spoke about this at length in the first half. If you weren't with us for the beginning part of this watch-along, we were talking about Manchester United. Now, instead of having starters and substitutes, it's more about starters and finishers, and that's how we should probably be looking at how those interchanges work, and she could have a huge part to play in this, along with Lisa Nalsund, about making sure that Manchester United get over the line, Aoife.
Rolfö is a player with so much ability. I think of some of the passes that she's made, particularly in that London City Lioness matchup that they had a few weeks ago. She assisted Jess Park with a really nice ball. Jess Park then scored a worldie just on the edge of the box. So I'm trying to think about what she will bring when and if she comes into the game, and I think it's that composure on the ball and that ability and vision to pick out passes, which, when you're playing against a team that overload their own box with defenders, that could be something that could be really useful. I know you mentioned Lisa Nalsund as well. Energy bunny, box-to-box midfielder, another player that can just keep the momentum going for United. And I think that's what they're going to need.
Yeah. Right, before we get started in the second half, and now moments away from getting underway, a couple of little things to tell you about. If you are watching on YouTube, we really, really want you to be subscribed, so much so that you can only comment on this video if you are subscribed. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because the best comment that we get over the course of tonight wins this lovely signed Maya Le Tissier shirt, and it is Maya Le Tissier's penalty that is the difference between these two sides. So this one here is what we're looking at, and if you give us a brilliant comment in this second half, a great conversation starter, you could well be in with a shout of winning the Manchester United captain's signed shirt that is alongside me here. Both teams out and ready to go at the Lee Sports Village underneath the floodlights. I wonder whether I'm going to get a bit nerdy here, but I'm looking at that pitch tonight at the LSV, and it's always a decent pitch. It's had loads of money spent on it over recent years, including undersaw heating and making sure that it's weatherproof. But it is a dual-use pitch, and we are coming to the end of the Rugby League season now, but it does have to serve two purposes. Does that make a difference when you're playing on it?
In recent years, so last season and maybe the season before, the quality of the pitch at Lee Sports Village has been really high. I don't think what you're alluding to is in the quality of the pitch when it gets a bit dug up with it being a dual-use pitch. I don't think it's as much of a feature as it has been in previous seasons. Certainly when I joined United a few years back, it was a talking point, but I can't remember it. I can't remember us talking about it last year. My memory of it is it's a really decent pitch and it gets watered loads at half time, to the point where if you're a substitute you need to watch out for the water.
We spoke, didn't we, in the last Champions League game about the knowledge of this pitch, and we're underway in the second half. The knowledge of this pitch is that it dries out as the game goes on. So technically the passes that hold up in the beginning part of the half then run on in the second part of the half, and there's a chance here for United in the penalty area. Jess Park with a chance. What a save. That is absolutely unbelievable. Still not cleared yet, back into the middle, but it's blocked and behind. That is a game-saving stop from the Valerenga goalkeeper.
Fantastic break and transition from United, wasn't it? Really good, quick transition, team play through that midfield, but like you say, the keeper emblem comes out quick off a line. Jess Park takes one touch, gets a really nice touch out of her feet, but the keeper really just comes out and snuffs that chance out from Jess Park. But really good, quick break from United.
That is some save. It really is. We've got a corner. Anna Sandberg standing over this. We'll show you the... we'll let the corner go in and then we'll show you that chance that we're talking about. But Sandberg delivering from the United right, comes into the middle. Mallard's got a head on it, still not clear. Eventually Valerenga do get there, and a little bit of wrestling inside the penalty area gives a free kick to the away side. When you see this chance, there'll be a QR code at the bottom of the screen. That is how to find out where you can watch this game live, because obviously there are weird rights restrictions that prevent us from being able to show you the pictures of this game, and UEFA, tell us that we can't do that. So what we're trying to do is give you our insight as we're going along. So we'll give you the QR code so you can see exactly where you can watch the game and take us with you as you go. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. We're going to be doing this as we go through the Champions League this season. Melvin Mallard has got herself into a really good position here out on the right hand side. It's a good cross, two into the middle, turned away, and I tell you what, it's just as bright a start to the second half as we saw in the first half, Aoife.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke towards the end of the first half and coming into the second half about what we think United are going to be asked to do. We probably didn't touch on maybe what Valerenga, what their coach would be asking them to do, and so far it looks like they've been asked to take a bit more space and to be a bit more kind of forthcoming on the ball.
Is that a sensible thing to do against this United side?
It's like, all risk, all reward maybe. Certainly it leaves them more vulnerable on the break, and obviously for United I hope that that's the case, because it will make it a much more exciting game, and I think it will just lead to way more chances for United. So it'll be interesting to see how many minutes into this second half Valerenga leave themselves so open.
And I think it's probably a bit early for Valerenga to do that as well. Like you say, definitely risk over reward over risk, but maybe at the time of the game as well, and straight after half-time you'd want to just come out and solidify what you've got. You're still in the game at 1-0, aren't you? So maybe a bit of naivety there at the start of the second half from Valerenga, but what I really liked about that is they're getting the ball out wide. That was we'd not really seen that. The ball went out wide to Mallard, and she got that really dangerous ball into the centre of that six-yard box. So I'd like to see that a little bit more this second half. So.
I spent the best part of 10 years in a previous life as a radio producer, so setting up guests in various bits and pieces for radio programmes. And we would call certain people that we got on the radio high risk, high reward, because you took a chance that something would get said that wasn't supposed to get said, but equally, 9 times out of 10, it'd be absolutely worth it, running that risk, sometimes less so. No names mentioned, because I'll get myself in trouble. Manchester United still on the front foot here, and I just wonder whether Valerenga have fallen into the same trap that Bran fell into to a certain extent, where they thought to themselves, we don't play this way, we don't play in this low block, we are expansive, we like to get the ball forward, and every time they did that, certainly in the game at the LSV, they just got picked off by Manchester United's ability to press high, turn the ball over in dangerous areas of the pitch, and then deliver into the penalty area. We'll wait and see, I think is what I'm trying to say as to whether or not that's what's going to occur this evening. But the opening 4.5 minutes of this second half have been as bright as any other point in the game. So we'll keep an eye on that next fixture for Manchester United. Atletico on the 16th of October. That one's is that the late kickoff or the early kickoff? It's moving on about. Is that the early kickoff? They shift about, don't they? Chelsea were on the early kickoff today, 1 apiece with FC Twente, and not what any of us were anticipating, I've got to say. And they haven't looked altogether that convincing in European competition. United on the front foot again here with Ella Toon. Toon's going to try and slide that through. Sandberger's just mistimed the run ever so slightly, but again, United trying to get themselves into positive position.
Yeah, I think definitely Mark said something about, you know, getting in those wide areas, getting the balls forward. We've already seen Sandberg now. She's made 2 overlapping runs in this second half, and she's dangerous going forward. We've seen Malad hanging out wide as well, trying to keep that width and just changing it up a little bit, because they are in that low block, moving those players around and not. I think at times in those central positions, they're in that low block and really banking up in that central area, so they need to get the ball out wide. I think they've started to get the second half really well, United.
A nice comment from Akambi, which I'm going to read to you in just a sec. Just wait and see if anything comes from this corner. It doesn't. They come back to midfield. So Akambi says, it's really jaw-dropping to watch the transition from this women's team from 2018 until now in the Champions League. He says he's loving every moment of this. Glory, glory, Man United. And actually, it's a really good point. The progression of this Manchester United side is almost unprecedented. The way that they've gone from Championship and just sort of rocketed themselves to the top of the WSL. Casey doing an absolutely brilliant job at the beginning of that, and then that role taken over by Mark Skinner, who's made back-to-back FA Cup finals. He's qualified them for the Champions League. It's really impressive to see, Lindsay.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's a really good point, because you forget, because of the name Manchester United, you forget that, like you say, in 2018 they were in WSL 2, you know, coming through the ranks, and now in 2025 they're in Champions League. They've won the FA Cup. They've finished second in the WSL already. So I think that gets forgotten because of the big name that goes with this club.
You were part of that journey, Aoife. What was it like to be on board that train?
Oh, it was amazing. It was an absolute roller coaster. I was thinking back to the year or 2 years before I joined. My first game for the other side of the city, the blue side, was actually an Etihad derby against Man United. And I remember Man United at that point, it was their first season in the WSL. So done a year in the Championship, they got themselves into the WSL. And I remember going into the game thinking, okay, these will be good, but like not amazing. Like they've got no WSL experience. I think City ended up scraping a 1-0 win, really looking. I remember in that first half thinking, wow, this is a real team here. And they'd only been created, granted with the backing of Man United, they'd only been created for 1 year at that point. So you're right, think of how the team has developed and transformed. And it's more now that I'm away from it that I can really, really appreciate it. Find me a team that got created in 2018 and then go on and win the FA Cup in 2024. It's incredible. It is incredible.
And credit has to go to everybody that's been involved in that, I think, from the ground up, from the players who have been everything, but also you look at the work that Casey Stoney did when she was with Manchester United, and then the platform that Casey gave Mark, who has just kicked it on again. And sometimes I think maybe because of one thing or another, the credit isn't given where it should be given to either Casey Stoney or specifically to Mark Skinner, who you can't really argue, can you? Top 3 finishes in the WSL, 3 consecutive FA Cup finals reach, 1 FA Cup final, 1 Champions League football. It's very, very difficult to argue that this is the most successful period of Manchester United women's football team since they were reformed.
I totally agree, and we talked before the game, didn't we, about Mark Skinner, and sometimes he doesn't get the credit he deserves in what he's done here. Yes, a fantastic platform from Casey who started that journey, but from Mark to pick up and go the way it's gone, it's really, you know, fantastic from him as well. And I think, you know, he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done at this club, and I think as well, wasn't it, the season that they didn't do as well in the league, but then they won the FA Cup, so their first ever trophy. So I think and he's the longest serving manager in the WSL, I think now, isn't he? So that's testament to him and what he's done here, and the players want to play for him. I think Aoife will obviously say that as well. That the players want to play for Mark, and it shows on the pitch as well.
Yeah, certainly the case. United leading Valerenga by a goal to nil here. 55 minutes gone of that game. I have just been reliably informed that if you are watching on YouTube, you can get all of the goals for Manchester United women from the archives on this YouTube channel as well. So once this live watch-along is finished, you can have a delve into the archives and see some of the absolute corkers that have been scored by Manchester United in recent months and years. And there have been some special goals in there as well. Think Ella Toon in the FA Cup final, for example, etc., etc. There have been some lovely goals. Elizabeth Turland on the charge. The second half has now probably settled into a bit of a rhythm, whereas it was a little bit frantic in the opening 5 or 6 minutes. We've now settled back into this Manchester United kind of in control, not having to do too much defensively because of how hard they're working in midfield, and that's pretty much the story of the game that we saw all the way through the first half as well.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see what the next 10-15 minutes look like. Whether Valerenga continue to be as open as they were after the start of the second half, or like you say, as the minutes have kind of progressed, whether it sort of sits into that hum and that rhythm as it ended in the first half, where they end up sitting in. It does still look like, to me, it has the inklings of a game that can be quite open, and I'd really like Valerenga to go for it just so that we have stuff to like commentate on, and it's exciting. It's more exciting as a fan when teams come out and really go for the win. So I hope that Valerenga do that, because I think it'll be a good watch if it is.
I think if you want the opportunity to come and watch Manchester United's women, the way to do that is by using the QR code that's on your screen right now, because chance for the PSG game. It's going to be at Old Trafford. There's going to be a real opportunity to get down here and really, really give some support to this team who have done brilliantly to get to this stage, but actually are going to need that support as we go through the league phase of the Champions League. And if you can get down here for that game against PSG, the atmosphere will be absolutely brilliant. It's always really, really engaging and open and fun and friendly. So if you want to come and see what it's all about, come and see some of these superstars. Use the QR code on the screen right now to get down here. C. Jones says, do we need to be taken seriously in the WSL title talk? I think our squad is still a bit thin, but we already have played Arsenal and Chelsea so far this season, and we really do look solid. The only reason that I would suggest that you can't talk about Manchester United in the title is because I think it's terribly bad luck to do that. But actually, hard to argue, given the results earlier this season. Instead of coming to Aoife first, I'm coming to Lindsay first, because you give us a little bit more of a helicopter view of that. Should they be involved seriously in title talk?
100%. I think obviously they've played Arsenal and Chelsea and got a draw from both of them, and I do genuinely think the Chelsea game, I think the Arsenal game was a fair result, 1-1. I think United, they just had the Champions League with midweek. They were a little bit tired in that second half, and I think that was a fair result. But the Chelsea game, I think they were unlucky not to get the win against Chelsea. And it's a long season, it's early doors, and I do think United will be up there with Chelsea. It's always Chelsea, isn't it?
Quadruple the playing budget of anybody else, of course. It's going to,
your noisy neighbours are having a good start to the season as well. So, but I think definitely they're in the conversation.
I think that's the thing for me, is that the playing field is quite difficult in terms of the finances. Chelsea just have this ability to spend countless pounds, and fair enough, but that means that they're able to bring in players, and all of a sudden you think to yourself, wow, that's unbelievable, some of the players that they've managed to bring in. And that's what you've got to challenge against. That's what you've got to try and overcome. And that's why the 1-1 result for Mark Skinner in this Manchester United side at the weekend was so impressive, because not only were they level pegging at the end of the game, there were large spells of that game where Manchester United were the better of the two sides. And I think that shows that the gap between the two is closing and closing and closing, and very, very likely that at some stage that will flip, and maybe Manchester United will be, crowned WSL winners.
Yeah, and I think that's important for the WSL. We don't want the same team winning again and again and again. The only sort of concern I have is that obviously the Champions League, you've got the number of games, so it's a long season. So is the squad big enough, you know, towards those latter end of the season? We'll see. But I think on a whole, they've got the players to compete with any team on the night, on their day, definitely.
United on the front foot again here, moving towards the edge of the penalty area with Melvin Mallar. Jess Park, whose direct running has been a problem for teams all season long, gets it back inside the penalty area, just taken off a toe last possible minute. If you are planning on dropping us a comment because you are subscribed to the Women's YouTube channel and you want the chance to win this Maya Le Tissier signed shirt, the winning comment, once that is decided, is going to need to send their details to an email address which I will give you once we have decided what the winner is. So I will give you that email address once we know who's won, and then maybe this signed Maya Le Tissier shirt will be winging its way to you. To be able to get involved in the conversation, you do need to be subscribed to the Manchester United Women's YouTube channel, which is, if you're not where you're watching this, that's where you could be watching this as we go forward. United, again, trying to work it down the right-hand side. Again, we've sort of fallen into this pattern with Manchester United where they are very much on top. We're looking at the stats. They are almost exactly the same. It's still 75-25 in terms of possession. And United so comfortable on the ball as they bring it forward again. Park into the penalty area. Oh, that's a lovely turn from Turland, who tries to get the cross away, and it is blocked and it's behind for a corner, but it's a clever ball in behind again.
Yeah, really good work from Jess Park. I think she stepped up in the second half and she's starting to find those pockets of space, and she has the vision to thread the ball through the Valerenga players, because they are banking up massively now in that low block, aren't they? So really good bit of skill from Turland, like you say, but just couldn't get a shot off.
Jess Park has been a really interesting addition for this sort of 2-10s role that Mark Skinner sort of played with last season. More on that in a second as this corner comes in towards the back post. It's cleared away. So the idea is that when Manchester United are in possession, Mark Skinner would like to have 2 number 10s in position. Very difficult to play that out of possession. So what happens is you end up with Jess Park playing either wide right or wide left of a 3 behind a main striker. And the idea is that your fullbacks can push up high enough that then allows either of your wide players to roll inside and become those 2 10s. And actually, it's very, very difficult to play against. We've seen that. And when you've got players of the ability of Ella Toone and Jess Park that can slot into those positions, it's very difficult to keep track of runners, especially with Jade Riviere on the overlap, for example.
Yeah, massively. I mean, we're just seeing talk of the devil. We're literally just watching Jess Park here dribble forward.
Still going, and Elizabeth Turland in the penalty area gets the shot in. Left-footed effort and a brilliant sliding challenge. I tell you what, Lindsay Johnson would have been proud of that one.
Yeah, it was a very good tackle, but I think Turland allowed the time for the centre-half to come across. I wanted Turland there just to get a shot off a bit early, but she just wanted it to come across a little bit more onto her left foot, didn't she? But yeah, a really good time tackle by the defender for Valerenga.
Was there an opportunity to check back there if you were Elizabeth Turland, or am I being a little too critical in that situation?
I mean, I imagine the closer that you get to the goal as a striker, I can only speak hypothetically, being a defender, you just see your name in lights and get a blood rush to your head. She looked like she was in a good position to at least have a chance, to be fair to her. Especially with the form that she's in.
It's kind of what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is that you get another bite at the cherry, or you win yourself a corner, and then you have a chance then of converting that. I tell you who we haven't spoken about, and I know that we speak about it every single week, and that's Fallon Tullis-Joyce, who again has been sensational this season. Only conceded a couple in the WSL so far, only conceded 1 in this competition so far. How important has it been to have somebody like Fallon to replace Mary Earps, do we think? Just wide. We're sorry, everybody's... Yeah.
It's like people don't want me to talk. Every time it comes to me, then there's a really good chance.
Everybody just stopped speaking. There was a collective intake of breath because Elizabeth Turland down the right-hand side manages to beat the offside trap, gets the right-footed shot away, but drags it past the far post. It's not far away at all, is it?
No, it's not. Going back to foul.
Yeah.
I think what makes her so special is she's so athletic. She is so athletic, so flexible, so mobile. And when I watch her in training, in the sort of warm-ups, let's say in the gym before we used to go out, she would have these like light up pods that would just kind of, it's like almost like whack-a-mole.
Oh, like reactive?
Yeah, reactive pods. And her reactivity and her level of like ability to kind of like press the pod as it lights up, it's just second to none. And you think of goalkeepers, I think historically, as being really good shot stoppers, but not necessarily being able to compete athletically with the outfield players. I think if she did the fitness test, she would be up there in the top few. Yeah, she's really, really unique in her physical profile as a goalkeeper. And I think what that allows her to do is to like get her feet set really early and be able to just dive and stop shots essentially. That's what makes her so special. And she had massive, massive, massive boots to fill.
Huge.
In Mary Earps, like incredible goalkeeper as well. And to be fair to her, I think everyone looking from the outside in, and of course the players inside as well, would say she is amazing. Fout is amazing. And we said this against Bran, didn't we, that her ability as a footballer or her life as a footballer is actually the least interesting bit about her as a person. She's got so many hobbies, so many interests. And I just hope everyone gets a little slice of Fallon Tullis-Joyce on and off the pitch, because she's an incredible person.
She is great, and there was a piece on MUTV over the summer where we went and sort of did the holiday thing with Fallon Tullis-Joyce, where she'd been and what she'd done and where she'd been diving and where she'd been trekking. And I'm sat there thinking to myself, I'm just so boring in comparison. So boring. We were talking there about Mary Earps. Of course, Mary Earps will be coming back to Old Trafford with PSG. QR code on your screen if you'd like to grab tickets to come and see that one. But huge player for England, huge player for the WSL, massive player for Manchester United coming back with PSG. Be good to see her. Be good to see her back playing on the turf at Old Trafford. I just hope that she has an absolute stinker on that day.
Yeah, and do you know, to go back to that, what a seamless transition, because there was a lot of noise when Mary left. And, are United going to go out and buy a keeper? Well, they had a keeper in Fallon Tullis-Joyce, and she just stepped into those gloves, let's say, perfectly well, and it was seamless. And I think, she's had an unbelievable time since Mary's left. I think she's undoubtedly one of the best goalkeepers in the world now, getting a start for USA as well, so she's doing really well. And to have her behind you, the trust as a centre-half, what that gives you, and you've got such a phenomenal keeper like that, who's not just good, as you say, a shot stopper, but she's good with her feet, she's good at coming off the line. You're telling us about her sort of physicality as well, which makes her an all-round sort of player to have on your team. So she seems like a fantastic leader as well.
Yeah, absolutely the case. We've had a couple more comments on the YouTube watch along. United are quality over quantity. We might not have the biggest budget or the biggest bench, but we have the best squad as a whole, in my opinion. Thank you very much for that one, Elliot. Tom says, loving the watch along. Thank you kindly. I took my daughter, 7, to her first ever match. We watched Arsenal. She was excited because she got away from Turland at the end and got a picture with Fred the Red. #United. That's the thing about coming to these games. I think the proximity to players is really key. The relationship that the Manchester United players have with the fans, the time that they spend after games, signing autographs, having pictures taken, coming and saying hi, is absolutely incredible. And that's why, if you've not been down to see a game at the Leigh Sports Village, or you've not had the opportunity to come to Old Trafford to watch the game, you absolutely need to be able to do that. And the way to do it is use the QR code on the screen, because it's huge. It's totally different to what you would get almost anywhere else, I think. And that relationship that has been forged between the Manchester United women's team and the fans is quite special, isn't it, Aoife?
Yeah, I agree. Really, really special. And I think sometimes we forget as players how much a little wave or an acknowledgement can mean to fans. And I really hope, as the women's game continues to grow, that those little personal touches are never lost, because I think it's something that makes the women's game really unique and really special. And what better excuse, by the way, to bring your kids down to watch these women play? I mean, they are amazing.
And I totally echo that, and I think it's the women's USP, it's Man United's USP about how you get, the proximity to the players and how you feel like you can form those relationships. I think the women's game is different to the men's in that lots of fans follow players and then they follow the team where the players are, and I think as I've got kids myself, and I think I go into a women's game as a total different experience to go into a men's game. Nothing to do with the quality on the pitch. The quality is immense at the women's game as well, but you just feel a little bit closer to the players and you feel a part of the whole day. So definitely get along and get on the QR code. I thought I'd help you out, Liam. Because
do you want my job? You can have it. It's all yours. QR code is there on the screen for PSG, or it will be very, very shortly. So when that appears, give it a scan with your phone and see whether you can't pick up some tickets for that game. Meanwhile here, nothing really moving, just what I would call quite attritional at the minute in midfield. Never really getting into final third either way, but United have got that one goal cushion, and with the way that they've defended this season in all competitions, they'll feel confident that they can sort of sit on this 1-0 and then try and find an opportunity to double that advantage as we get through the game a little bit later on. 1-0 then, and that scored in the first half by Maya Letitia. Maya Letitia's signed shirt alongside me is available. If you want to get involved with the conversation, make sure that you are subscribed to the Women's YouTube channel. Hit the bell too, and that will give you the notifications for any future videos that go up, including these watch-alongs as we go through this season. There's lots of various players here that we're getting to the point in the game where Mark Skinner's going to be looking and going, am I getting enough from you? Literally, as I say it, Valerenga are making 2 substitutions, but Mark Skinner will be thinking the same. This is kind of the window for him of, do I make a change? Are things working the way that I want them to work? Do I need some energy being pushed into the game? And I've just glanced up at the screen and I was absolutely right to talk about it, because I think Fridolina Rolfo is being ready to come on.
Yeah, I think it's about time that there's a change. I think everyone's played their part tonight. However, just need some fresh ideas on the pitch, some different movements as well, and we can see Turlin's the one who's going off for Rolfo as well. So there'll possibly be some movement as well. Mallard maybe going into that central number 9 position. Rolfo going out wide left, and she just offers something different, doesn't she? She can run in behind, like you say. She's great on the ball. She's got vision. She can thread balls through banks of players as well. So I think just a new impetus from a new player coming on the pitch is what's needed.
Been really handy to have, hasn't she? She play about 3 different positions, Fridolina Rolfo, and hugely beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfair really to call her a utility player in terms of her ability to play different positions, but she can. I think we should also look out now for Melvine Mallard in the 9.
Yeah.
The last time she played in the 9 was against London City a few weeks ago. I think she scored 2 goals that game. So I think there's 2 exciting things. Obviously, Rolfo's quality coming onto the pitch, but also Melvine, and if she can offer something slightly different and whether she can reignite those sparks that she had against London City a few weeks ago.
I feel like I should apologise, because we try and get as close as we possibly can to the players' names. They are anglicised, but the way that Rolfo's name is spelled, it's got an O at the end with like the 2 dots over the top. I don't even know what that's called, but it changes the sound of the O to a more of a sound, so it's more like Rolfer. But
sounds Mac, doesn't it? It sounds Mancunian.
Yeah.
Rolfer.
But Rolfo is kind of what you want to say, given what you see when it's written down. Look, I think they've already nicknamed her Frido, so we might just go with that, and then we can't get it wrong. Ella Toone in an attacking position for United comes back to Maya Letitia, and again we're seeing Maya Letitia. She's midway inside the Valerenga half as United try and apply that pressure again.
Yeah, and I think what you said in the first half as well, occupying those sort of half spaces as well, I do think it's really congested in those central areas now, and they need to try and get the ball out wide, offer something a little bit different, because they're banking up in that midfield area now. There's literally no room to play through there. As I say, Mallard still gets a shot off.
Yeah, and it's not far away either. From inside the D, left-footed, it just gets lifted over the bar. And we were talking earlier, weren't we, about how she's a right-footer that plays off the left-hand side, and that one's on, I say a weaker foot. I'm not sure whether it is actually weaker than a right foot, but you know what I mean. It's just over the bar. But again, United, they're not sitting back on this 1-0 lead. They do want to try and extend the advantage, Aoife.
Yeah, I think so, and I'm noticing that quite a few of United's shots are just from ever so slightly too far out from the 18-yard box to be, like, I think, truly, truly dangerous. As a defender, when you see a striker on the other team taking a shot from that distance, you're thinking 9 times out of 10 you're probably okay. So I think just that next bit is if they can work the chance ever so slightly closer into the box, it will just really give them that extra bite in terms of how dangerous their chances are.
Aoife, in the number 10 position, manages to get a left-footed strike on goal. Ella Toone was running off to the left. Sandberger's won this back in a really dangerous position too. Ella Toone, corner of the penalty area, just trying to find a little bit of space. Tries to wrap that right boot around it, but sends it a long way wide. Lily's been in touch, says, I've loved introducing my dad to women's football through supporting United. He's a lifelong men's fan, but never thought about the women's game before. Now we've been to several games together, and that, in a nutshell, is what it is all about for me. That is finding common ground and commonality around the game of football. And it's not necessarily with the men's team, it's actually the women's team that has brought dad and daughter together, and that's really cute, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that those stories I love to hear because it's about getting new fans and to the game, but obviously it's people who understand football and understand that it's still a game of football. It's women's football, but it's still a game of football, and you can enjoy it with the family. And I think the stories like that really excite me, and it's really nice to hear.
Lisa Nolsson is being readied on the substitutions bench for Manchester United. Aoife, what will she provide in this sort of closing 25 minutes, 15 minutes? Liam, maths was never my strong suit.
I think what Lisa brings in spades is energy and momentum onto the pitch. I think of some of the games over the years where she's come off the bench, where she hasn't started. Just watching a Valerenga chance here, actually.
Yeah, it's a really good ball in, but guess who? Fallon Thomas-Joyce cuts out the potential danger.
Yeah, I think of Lisa over the years coming onto the pitch off the bench. She just brings that level of like forward running and momentum that is quite hard. I think these days, in some senses, the way that football's gone, we love practicing possession and passes, and actually Lisa gives that extra edge and extra dynamic in terms of like passing and running forward. So she gives a different profile, I think, to a lot of the players that are already onto the pitch, and I love to see her on the pitch as well. She's a really nice girl.
So you probably just caught me calling for a yellow card there. Somebody's just gone sliding through the back of a Manchester United player, but not even giving us a foul in the end. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, not giving us a foul. So we are going to see a change. We haven't had that change just yet for United because the ball hasn't been out of play long enough. United trying to get something going on a transition here with Melvine Mallar. Finds Ella Toone. Toone just checks back and has the pocket picked. And it's so hard, isn't it, when you've got to try and have your radar in. You realise there's a player in front of you, try something to get yourself away from that player, and then you've got a midfielder that's retreated to sort of come and steal the ball away again. And I think sometimes it's very difficult when you're watching a game on a TV to understand just how quickly these things are happening when you're on the ball and trying to make these decisions in a split second.
Of course, it's just small margins, but I think, credit to Valerenga, it was a really good recovery run by the midfielder who was able to recover from behind and press from behind. Tooney just didn't obviously on her back shoulder. As a fan, you'd be like, just look on your back shoulder, but like say, it's that split second, it happens so quickly. This is a fast-paced game. But like I say, United are still going forward. They want that second goal. They're still moving the ball quickly. They're just struggling to find that clear opportunity and that clinicalness in front of goal.
I've got an opportunity down the right here with Melvine Mallar. While that develops, James says, couldn't agree more with you about the atmosphere and the vibe at United women's games. Our family come regularly to watch the team, and it's one of the most fun things that we do. There you go. There's a testament to the game. Melvine Mallar again from distance, and again just gets a little bit underneath it, and it goes up and over the top. Well, we've been sat here in the warm watching this game. Zara Connolly has been watching pitchside. Let's catch up with her.
Thanks very much. I have been busy here. It's a little bit chillier than the environment that you've got back at base, but it has been a very up and down game in this second half. Now it seems that the excitement with the fans is that Melvin, as Aoife rightly said, is in that 9 position, and he has had some success there, especially in that London City game. But you can see the runs are being made. You've got Melvin there, you've got Frida, Ella that need to work a little bit more together, but you can see the creativity could flow at any moment here. But just to get some of the fans' thoughts here, it's frustrating because you can see the opportunities are right there, but we're just not taking them just yet.
And we've had some really good opportunities. We've had one-on-ones with the goalkeeper. They've made some great blocks. So credit to them. Oh no, Fallon, thank you. Yeah, it's frustrating because the game could have been put to bed already. But we're still looking like the could.
Yeah.
Maybe even look like hopefully. Come on.
And once again, everyone's calling for the ref again. People are looking for cards to be given because there have been plenty of fouls here, but for some reason it's not been that even. But yeah, that is what's going on here. Let me know what you think of Liam back there, and also a bit jealous of those biscuits on that table.
And booking for what was very clumsy. It was brilliant from Jess Park, actually, to wriggle free down the right-hand side. And then he's looking for the pass and just gets swallowed up. And it's a real swipe out at her. And it took a little while for the referee to give the free kick. I wonder whether it was going to get given at all, Jono.
Yeah, it was a swipe, wasn't it? And then it was a kind of, by the other player who was recovering behind, it was a little bit of a elbow to the back as well, wasn't it? So... yeah, I think it was a yellow card, definitely. The ref's really not... she's let a lot of things go tonight, hasn't she? Which is good. We want that sometimes, but I think that was right, the yellow card there.
Inner went into the book and a free kick for United. Sandberg delivers towards the back post. Narsens is looping round the back, can't quite get there. And it is behind. But again, the set pieces for United this season have been another... a real strength, I think. We haven't quite seen that, but they've got bodies willing to get forward and get on the end of things. And now, you know, whoever is now responsible for the set pieces at Manchester United, they're working out that if they can get a flick on, if they can nod the ball back across the 6-yard box, they really open up their chances of getting a goal from a set piece, Aoife.
Yeah, and this is just my personal view, but I think 90% of set pieces delivery. And United have some really, really good set-piece takers. Don't know where you would sit on the percentage, but if you've got a good ball into the box, into a quality ball into the right area, you give yourself half a chance. And I look at like players like Anna Sandberg, like wand of a left foot. You give yourself a chance to make something of it, even if it's not directly a header. You give yourself a chance on the second piece.
Yeah, picking up those second balls as well from a set piece is important, and knowing that, you know, whoever's going for the ball, whether it be Mallard, then I'm going to run on her back shoulder if she's going to get the flick on as well. And I think those relationships that you develop on the training ground and bringing it onto the pitch, it just adds another element to the game.
Just out of curiosity, where do you stand on the percentage?
I ignored that question.
85. I'll give you 85. Any advances on 85. A couple of changes coming here, and it is the danger player that Aoife pointed out to us a little bit earlier on in Thornes's. I think this is where United just need to stay alive and aware to the situation. We've got 6 and 3/4 minutes left to go, plus any stoppages. Still leading by a 1-0. And they've had no real chances. And then immediately onto the pitch, a shot comes in, and it think has been struck wide, or has that been saved by Fallon Tullis-Joyce? Waiting to see what the official says. Well, she's been on the pitch for less than 30 seconds and has had only their second shot of the game.
Yeah, I mean, It was only a matter of time before she came onto the pitch. We said that she scored 6 goals in 3 games. And I think what Thorsnes does really well is she's not particularly pacey, in my opinion, but she stretches the line really well and she's got really good positioning. And you could just see the timing of her run there. They played it back to see if it was offside. It wasn't. She timed it perfectly. And if Valerenga can get balls into the box and she's there, I think she can be a real danger. So it's definitely something that Dominic Janssen and Maya Letizia will have their senses heightened on, I think.
This is the danger, isn't it, of just having a single goal lead going into the closing stages of the game. You've now got to stay completely switched on. I'm just going to read you the stats to give you an idea of how one-sided it has been for United, with Valerenga in the ascendancy here. That's going to be too heavy and going to go out for a goal kick. They have had, up until that, 1 shot in 83 minutes. One shot on target in 83 minutes. To give you an idea of how that looks to the other side, Manchester United have had 16 shots, 7 of which have been on target, 5 of which have been classed as big chances, 4 of which Manchester United haven't converted. So they'll be the statistics that are being looked at by Mark Skinner, and he's gone, we've created chances, we've got the ball in the right place, we haven't converted as many of those opportunities as I would have liked to have converted, and now the pressure is on not to let anything slip in the dying moments.
And I agree, and I think now you've got to look at your big players, your experienced players, because this is about game management. The most important thing is that they get the win and they get the 3 points. At the moment, they're 1-0 up and they need to close the game out. But we can still see they're going forward. Sandberg's done a lot of underlapping in this second half for Rolfo to be able to have that width outside. But they've just got to be switched on at the back, because they do not want to give, this game away at the latter stages of the game when they've been so convincing and such a one-sided game so far.
Into the final 5 then, Manchester United leading by 1-0. As it stands, Manchester United will be taking their first Champions League points away from this game with Valerenga. Let's not forget that the quality of this side, they are back-to-back league champions in Norway. These guys know what they're doing. Manchester United have acquitted themselves, regardless of the final score, they've acquitted themselves brilliantly in their first ever Champions League game.
No, it's fine. I was going to say as well, on the back of that, they were in the Champions League last season. They've had that experience playing against big teams in the Champions League, Valerenga. So, they've had a lot of the ball, United. So, and they're a wise team. They've went in the low block. They've banked up. They've made it really difficult. It's hard to play against a low block, isn't it, Aoife? And I think when you look as a fan, you do get frustrated. But I think the good thing for United, if they've created plenty of opportunities. You could say, if you're a glass half full, you could say yes, but they've not been clinical with those opportunities as well. But you look at the positives from my point of view.
Gabby George and Simi Awujo on to replace Ella Toon and Anna Sandberg. Simi Awujo is an interesting one. She's from Peachtree, Georgia, but actually represents Canada at national level. I was speaking to somebody who said an athlete. An absolute athlete, and we know Gabby George has bags and bags of experience now and is really capable in that left back position for Manchester United. Aoife, what's your experience of both of them? Start with Simi Awujo for us.
Simi's a really exciting young player. I cast my mind back to the Sevens tournament that United finished in Portugal in the post-season last season. I think she was given the award of young rising star or something of that kind of effect. She was incredible, really good, very athletic, very powerful, quite really good when there's big spaces in terms of transitions and getting up the pitch. And I think her profile and what she brings is something that United could definitely benefit from. And then Gabby George, for me, a really underrated player. Does all of the good work off the ball, away from the ball, as a defender, and probably, I say this with the bias of a defender, does not get the plaudits that she deserves.
Yeah, I agree about Gabby. I know her really well, and I think she's an excellent 1v1 defender. She's got bags of pace as well. She's hard to beat, isn't she? And she can get forward. Mark likes his players to get forward. At the moment, Sandberg's getting the nod, but Gabby can come on, get forward, create opportunities in that offensive third, but her main job is to be a defender, and she's a very good 1v1 defender.
Just as we speak about her being a defender, steps in and makes a crucial intervention, Gabby George. And yeah, look, as with everything, I think Gabby George's injury probably came at just the wrong time. You're in pre-season, you're going into qualification games of the Champions League, and all of a sudden, you know, there's a small knock. It keeps you out the side. Anna Sandberg comes in, and then it's very, very difficult to drop Anna Sandberg, who's been really, really good for United. And then, of course, Anna Sandberg scores at the weekend against Chelsea, and it becomes even more difficult to drop her in that situation as Valerenga get a third shot of the game away in the 90th minute, but Fallon Tullis-Joyce is down behind it. So we'll just have to wait and see. The point is that it's a squad game, and over the course of the season, once all of the competition starts, so not only have Manchester United got WSL and Champions League, but the FA Cup's going to start, the League Cup's going to start, and then all of a sudden you're going to need some players, you know, and it might be that Mark Skinner and the powers that be at Manchester United decide that they've got to think about how that works come January. We'll have to wait and see, but really important that everybody tries to stay as fit as they can, because they are going to be needed as we go through the season. We're into the final 10 seconds of normal time, and Valerenga are having a little bit of a push forward here and an opportunity for Thorsness, but it's a weak connection, and it's straight through to Fallon Tullis-Joyce, and my heart rate is going to return to normal.
It
gets nervy. 3 minutes of time added on now.
It's like Valerenga have shoved all of their chances and momentum and good stuff in the game into the last 2 minutes of the game. It feels a little too late. The game's not over yet. There's only 3 minutes of extra time. Still enough time to still be a thorn in the side of Man United, but I think the girls now just need to take the sting out of it and see the game out. Take the 3 points.
I think it's obviously a game plan for Valerenga, isn't it? Keep it, you know, as close to 1-0, be in the game for as long as you can, and then put on your attacking players towards the end of the game and really, really go for it. And hopefully for Manchester United it is too little too late, because, you know, it would really be, it wouldn't be fair, would it, if they don't win this game with the possession they've had, the amount of opportunities they had. But that's football for you sometimes. But United have to find a way to just, you know, finish off this game and get the 3 points.
I've worked in football for 20 years. I hate stoppage time at the end of games. It still makes me nervous now. And look, I'm a Manchester United fan. I've seen great things happen in stoppage time at games, but I've also had my heart broken far too many times too. So this is always the nervy 90 seconds at the end of the game that makes me a little bit concerned. What's it like playing in it? Is it forcing yourself to stay switched on at this stage of the game, or what?
You've got to answer this, Aoife, because I played in a time where we didn't have I know we've only got 8-9 minutes handed on. We probably had 2 or 3 minutes and that was it. But yeah, you answer this one, Aoife.
I mean, it's interesting that you say, do you try and keep is it hard to keep your focus? In a way, I think it's the opposite. You're so amped and so wired that it's hard to keep calm and keep almost like your vision relaxed so that you can see the pictures and just play with a level of composure. If anything, you kind of clam up and you get a bit like stiff and rigid in your game. So I think the opposite to what you've alluded. It's really easy to say switched on. If anything, you need someone with a foghorn from the side saying, relax, do what you've been doing for 85 minutes of the game and everything will be fine.
So Nelson wriggles away. We're into the final 30 seconds here. I'm just going to take you through the last 30 seconds of the game, I think, as Fridolina Rolfer is in the penalty area. Chance maybe in the middle as it gets deflected away from an arriving Manchester United player. I think it was Melvin Mallard that was coming in towards the back post. It's picked up by Fridolina Rolfer in the number 10 position, just in front of the penalty area. Now off to the right-hand side where Jess Park's stretching for it. 5 seconds of normal time remaining. Ball is up to the edge of the centre circle. Out it goes to the right-hand side. Valerenga on the attack. Final whistle goes. That is absolutely brilliant work from Manchester United. First Champions League game, and they've picked up 3 points. That is the best start that they could have asked for. Aoife.
Yeah, well done to the team. Starting their first ever Champions League proper game with a win, with 3 points. Probably deserved an extra goal, I think. But they saw the game out 1-0, had all of the possession, all of the chances, all of the momentum, all of the good stuff, apart from the last 2 or 3 minutes where Valerenga kind of woke up and decided that they wanted to go for it. Well done, girls. Brilliant, good stuff, great start.
I think it's massive. I think, you know, to get the 3 points, obviously, I think overall the performance was good. We've talked about it needs to be more clinical. They created opportunities, but it's very difficult playing against a team for 80% of that game or even 90% of that game. They've played in a low block or a mid block, and that's hard to break down. But, you know, they look very comfortable. It was very, you know, polished performance or professional performance. And ultimately, look at the table tonight, and they've got 3 points with the likes of Lyon, with the likes of Barcelona, who are at that, you know, who've all won their first games, and Manchester United have done that as well. So I think it's exactly what they wanted, you know, for their first game, and to get the 3 points is what they want.
Absolutely the case. All of the highlights and stuff will be available as and when we're able to give them to you on the Manchester United website and app. If you are still watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please, before you switch us off, just hit the subscribe button, click the bell to make sure that you're notified for the next time that we do this. I'm waiting to be given the nod about whether or not we've got a winning comment on YouTube. I'm gonna listen. Oh, it's Mr. C. Mr. C. If you are still watching, you need to make sure that you send us an email to mutv@manunited, manutd.co.uk. mutv@manunited.co.uk. This signed Maya Letitia shirt is all yours. I've really enjoyed that, and it looks like people have enjoyed it too. Some of the comments that we've been getting through have been really nice. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, guys.
Brilliant. It's flown by. Obviously, enjoyed spending my evening with you two, but the most important thing was the 3 points for Manchester United.
3 points, and better off than both Arsenal and Chelsea after match week 1 of the Women's Champions League. Absolutely brilliant from Manchester United, and I'm sure that Mark Skinner will be delighted too. We'll get you all of that reaction, what Mark Skinner's had to say, some of the highlights, various bits and pieces as we go through the week. And look, next Manchester United women's game, it comes up on Sunday, and we'll just have to see how they get on. Can they carry on that brilliant form in the WSL? We'll bring you full radio commentary of that one. Thank you for watching along. It's been absolutely brilliant. Post-match reaction for you on the Manchester United app and on the website as we go through the week as well. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell. It was absolutely lovely to have you along. We'll see you soon.